Good evening, and welcome to another Think About It Thursday. My name is Henry Dotson, founder of Our Journeys of Faith Life Coaching. So here we are again on another Thursday, actually, the last Thursday of March. Boy, we're already one quarter of the way through the year. It's amazing. Time is really moving, but also it's daylight savings time. And so the sun is still out here in Pasadena. And it's just interesting how when we started all of this, it was dark just a few months ago, but now this it's the light is out, and we actually the rain has stopped, so all is good. So on this Think About It Thursday, I hope it finds you well, and we have for today um, our Think About It Thursday question is: think about how how you will return to the normal activities of life after your recovery. How will you integrate the new you into a changed world to establish your new normal? So this topic is here because we have been talking before about our cancer journey and looking at it as a purposeful journey of faith. And we are now at a point in the journey where we are on the road to recovery. We haven't quite recovered, but we're just about ready to say the doctors and the physical therapists and all those folks, they're saying that, okay, we've done all we can and you're in the best shape you need to be in to say that we can release you from our care. So you're about ready to transition back into the familiar. Now, I say familiar because things have changed there too, and so have you. So the question is, how will you return to the normal activities of life? And you will be going back into a familiar place, but the world has changed and you have changed. So these questions come because on our Mindset Monday, we put out our normal mindset that we want you to have for the week. And this week's Mindset Monday is: you will return to the familiar with a renewed mind. And so the key things there that we want to stress is that, one, it's familiar, but it's not the same as where you left it when you started on this cancer journey. And you're entering into it with a renewed mind. So these are points that we wanted to make here on our Mindset Monday, and that um, the world has changed and you have changed. And so as you cross that return threshold to your known world, you're going to re-engage with family and friends, acquaintances, and daily life in a new way. So you have a change. You've changed physically, you've changed mentally, and you've changed spiritually. And you have, yeah, as you move into this known world, you move in, um, you move in with a different perspective. And God has equipped you to navigate your new normal with purpose. So this is what we wanted you to think about um, on Mindset Monday. We wanted you to get your mindset to the fact that you're going to return to the familiar with a renewed mind. And so we encouraged you this week to have that mindset that you will return a new creature equipped to operate with purpose in a changed world after your recovery. So we wanted you to start off that way in this Mindset Monday. And then we follow that up, as we usually do, with on Tip Tuesday, we find a quote that we think is applicable to where we think your mindset should be. So this week's Tip Tuesday is a quote that I actually put into the book that Vanessa and I wrote, um, that we thought was appropriate in the book, and we think that it's appropriate here. And this is in From Zion to a City of Hope. And this quote comes from Aiden Wilson Tozer. Some of you who are familiar maybe know him more as A.W. Tozer, a person that has been a great spiritual leader in the past. And his quote was, "Faith is not merely a journey for the feet, but it is a journey of the heart." And that's because as you go through a cancer journey in particular, there's a transformation in your heart. There's something that changes in your heart as you go through the journey, as you go through the road of trials, as you go through the valley of dependence, where you face this ordeal that is going to, the outcome of which will determine whether you're going to go on the road to recovery, as we are talking about here, and meaning that you're going to be a survivor of your bout with cancer, or you're going to go on the road to glory. So you're going to go on to get that ultimate healing of your body that will take place on the other side of eternity. But here, when you, regardless of which way you go, you're going to go to a point where you are going to have to totally entrust yourself to God. And when that happens, that's when the supernatural takes place. And so it's a change that has happened in you because you have submitted your will completely and totally to God's will. And that causes a change in your heart. And so when you come back to what is familiar, that's why it's not only a journey for your feet, meaning that you travel back and forth doing things that you have not done before in this unknown world of cancer, going to doctors, taking treatments that you've never heard of before, experiencing things there that you have to travel here and there to get to. It's not just a journey of the feet, or it's also a journey of the heart. So this quote was quite apropos for what we've been talking about. And then on our Wisdom Wednesday, of course, we find scripture that also supports this, because the cancer journey of faith would not be a cancer journey of faith if you could not find its foundations in the Bible. So there is scripture that backs up this notion that you're going to return with a renewed mind, and you're going to return with a new purpose that God has equipped you with. And so for this Wisdom Wednesday, we went back into the Old Testament and we found a scripture that was written by the prophet Jeremiah. And it's Jeremiah 31:21. And it starts out, "Set up road markers for yourself. Make yourself guideposts. Consider well the highway, the road by which you went. And return, O Virgin Israel, return to these your cities." Now, what he's talking about there is a couple of things. One is he talking about the guideposts, the markers along the way. So this is while you are headed down that unknown path on that cancer journey of faith, that you are leaving markers for yourself, guideposts, so you can find your way back. And that's a topic that we won't get into too much now, but make a note of that you consider this highway that you're on, and guideposts and markers along the way, the road by which you went. But then the second part, it talks about return, and it says, "O Virgin Israel, return to these your cities." And so what he's talking about there when it comes to virgin Israel is that Israel at this point, they had been taken into captivity because of all the bad things they had done. They had not followed God. And so he allowed them to be captured a second time. And so first they were bound in Egypt when they went there because of the famine, and they stayed and they grew in numbers, and they finally had to leave Egypt and find the promised land. But then once they got to the promised land, they stopped obeying God and they started to do things that really were shameful. And so God allowed Israel to be captured again and taken to Babylon, taken back. So anyway, um, the return that he's talking about as he calls them a virgin is that they have been renewed. Israel has been renewed to this state of pristine, to a pristine place where they are basically a new creature. So this is the same thing that applies to what we're talking about. There's been a renewing of your mind through faith, and you are now a new creature. So that's where this scripture is apropos that we have there, that is set up road markers for yourself, make yourself guideposts, consider well the highway, the road by which you went, and return, O virgin Israel, return to these your cities. So that's what that scripture, how that applies to what we're talking about when we're talking about the cancer journey of faith. And so that leads us again back to where we started, and that's where we met you this evening, and that is with our Think About It Thursday question. So the Think About It Thursday question is, think about how you will return to the normal activities of life after your recovery. How will you integrate the new you into a changed world to establish your new normal? Because the world didn't stop because you had cancer. Life went on for other people. Events happened. There were current events, and there are events now for you that what happened while you were focusing on your bout with cancer that have changed the way the world is. So the world that you're returning to is not the one that you left. And so it's different, but also you're different. You're different on the inside because you've had a renewing of your heart, a renewing of your mind, and being filled with purpose. And you've been changed physically on the outside. There are probably some indicators that you've been through a cancer journey. If you've had surgery, there may be marks of surgery. If you've had radiation, there may be some marks on your body for radiation or some side effects from radiation. And if you had chemotherapy, you most definitely have had some side effects that have impacted your body. So you're coming back to the world you left with a new body, mind, and spirit. And so this is going to be your new normal. And a while ago, we talked about what it means to be in a new normal and how you adjust to that. And maybe we'll pick that back up again for just for those who have not been part of this, but also just as a refresher for those who have, as to what it's all about to be in a new normal. But the point is that you have to think about how you're going to integrate yourself into this changed world, in this renewed you, and you come back with purpose. Because again, as you've gone through this journey, God has used your suffering to reveal to you some of the life messages that you need to bring back, because there's an audience that's there just for you, that is, He has prepared, that is waiting to hear from you and only you. And that message is going to impact them. And that's going to be part of your life mission as you move forward, just doing the things that you do. So hopefully that'll give you some things to think about. And until we meet again, continue to think about that. And on Monday, we will have a new mindset to think, to start off that week. And now we're sort of moving into back into the somewhat familiar, and you're going to be thinking more about preparing yourself for fulfilling that purpose that you have, God has given you. So we'll talk about that too, as we start making moves in that direction. So until then, I wish you well, and God bless you. And we'll see you again next Thursday when it's time to think about it again. Take care, and God bless.